Welcome to this week's AI Tech Roundup, a show where we explore all the key happenings from the AI world in the past week to see what really matters and see what will really impact how this field develops further. My name is Jan Stichitz, Director of Data Science at Shelf. Let's get started. Number one is the 2024 AI Index report by Stanford's Institute for Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence. It is the 7th edition of this report, very relevant as AI, GenAI is soaring and the interest in this technology is sky high. What the report does is it tracks and collects data on technical advancements in AI, public perception, and geopolitical dynamics, with a goal of providing unbiased, vetted, and broadly sourced data. Now, what authors do is share 10 key takeaways. I just want to mention the top 3. Number 1, AI beats humans on some tasks, but not all. Number 2, industry continues to dominate frontier AI research. And number 3, frontier models get way more expensive. We cover the whole report, the whole 2024 AI Index report in depth in a video on Augment Yourself, available on this channel, and it will be linked below. I want to share the key findings from a GenAI market research study conducted by Coleman Parks Research and sponsored by SAS. It was a study conducted in early 2024. It included or surveyed 300 US GenAI strategy or data analytics decision makers, with the purpose of pulse-checking major areas of investment and the hurdles organizations are facing. I will share the 4 key stumbling blocks as documented by the authors. Number 1, increasing trust in data usage and achieving compliance. This is something we see very consistently across different surveys. Compliance, regulatory issue. New technology, different way this technology uses our data, different use cases enabled by this technology. Regulatory concerns are here, and compliance issues is something that companies need to address. Number 2, integrating GenAI into existing systems and processes. Very similar problem, new technology, new capabilities, and our current architectures, our current information infrastructures are just not ready, are just not built for that purpose, and this requires us to have a different approach to knowledge management and different approach to our tech stack. Number 3, talent and skills. In-house GenAI is lacking. So the lack of talent to realize the potential that generative AI brings. And the last key stumbling block, predicting costs. Leaders cite prohibitive direct and indirect costs associated with using large language models. So here, first thing, model creators provide a token cost estimate. So this is the amount of tokens you consume when you call these different LLM API services, but then also the costs of private knowledge preparation, training, and model ops management, which are all lengthy and complex processes. So high costs across the board to really get something out of generative AI and power a GenAI use case. Llama3, Meta promised, and now Meta delivers. Next generation of Meta state-of-the-art open large language models. 2 sizes released, 8 billion parameters and 70 billion parameters, pre-trained and instruction-tuned versions available. Those are text-based models, first ones released in the Llama3 collection of models, and what they're planning to do in the near future to make these models or release models which are multilingual and multimodal and with a longer context window. This variant of Llama3 comes out with a 8K token window or context size, which is relatively small compared to what some of the other companies are doing. Now, Meta claims that this is the highest performing, best open large language model out there, and Meta can support this with numbers. Here are some of the benchmarks, comparing the smaller variant, the 8 billion token Llama3 to Llama 7B and Mistral 7B Instruct. Both of those models are quite confidently outperformed by Llama3. And then Llama3 70 billion compared against closed Gemini 1.5 Pro and Claude 3 Sonnet. And on those, Claude 3 Sonnet is behind on all 5 reported benchmarks when Gemini 1.5 5 Pro is behind on 3 out of the 5 benchmarks. So Llama 3, very, very high performing, very capable models. And another benchmark which measures human preference, so humans compare answers from Llama 3 to answers from Claude Sonnet, Mistral Medium, GPT-3.5, and Meta Llama 2. And in all of those 4 cases, humans preferred the answers from Llama 3. So again, very good models, very exciting models, exciting also for the open source community, as we can now take these models and fine-tune them for our specific use cases. Now, Meta is already using these models for different purposes. Meta's AI chatbot is powered by Llama 3 and is now also running in search bars across 4 major Meta's applications, which are Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So Meta is already making them also already using Llama 3 in production applications. Another new model released in the last few days, this one from Mistral, the French AI model builder, and it's Mistral 8x22B. So it is a mixture of experts model, so it follows a mixture of experts architecture. What this means is only a subset of parameters are activated on each request. This is different than having just one dense neural network where the whole network is activated at each request. This makes the model and the architecture more efficient. This model is fluent in English, French, Italian, German, and Spanish, so it's multilingual. It has a 64K context window size. So this is a large context window size. This is more than, let's say, Databricks DBRX, which was released not long ago. And it's also more than Llama 3 from Meta. Mistral 8x22B also has strong coding and math capabilities, as well as function calling capabilities out of the box. How does it do on benchmarks? The ones that they report in the blog post, it outperforms Command R and Command R Plus from Cohere. It also outperforms Llama 2 70B, but it does fail to outperform Llama 3 70B. So Llama 3 70B from Meta came out a few days later, and it does perform slightly better on some of the benchmarks, on most benchmarks compared to Mistral 8x22B, but still a very exciting new model from Mistral AI. And last item for this week's AI Tech Roundup, it's GPT versus human performance. Number one takeaway from Stanford's AI Index report was generative AI models outperform humans on some tasks, but not on other. I want to share findings from 2 studies published just last week from 2 very different fields. First one comes from the medical field, and it compared GPT's performance to human physicians. And then the second one is GPT versus data analysts. So it's from the data analytics field. And the findings are pretty exciting if you are a fan of generative AI. So study number 1, medical field, they compared scores of GPT-4 and GPT-3.5 on 5 exams across 5 different medical disciplines: general surgery, pediatrics, internal medicine, psychiatry, and gynecology. And they compared scores of GPTs to human physicians who took the same exam. So there was over 800 physicians who took the exam. And now findings are pretty impressive. On 2 out of the 5 exams, GPT-4 actually scored higher than the median score of physicians. And on all 5 different exams, GPT-4 scored high enough to pass the exam. So it scored higher than the minimum requirement to pass the exam. Not the same with GPT-3.5. GPT-3.5 did not perform well, relatively speaking, to GPT-4 and human physicians. So what authors concluded, there was a big leap from GPT-3.5 to GPT-4. And what will be interesting to see is, where is the ceiling for these models? So as new models come out, as GPT-5 comes out with better training data sets, with better AI infrastructure, with more capable AI infrastructure, it will be interesting to see how much further can these models go. And the second study, as mentioned, compared GPT-4 to data analysts, 3 different skill levels of data analysts: juniors, interns, and seniors. And what they found is GPT-4 outperformed junior and intern level data analysts, but it did not outperform senior level analysts. Again, interesting finding. It is aligned with some other research or some other surveys reporting or concluding that large language models, generative AI, is great at bridging the gap between lower skilled and higher skilled employed. This is supported by the findings in this study. This is it for this week's AI Tech Roundup. Stanford publishes their AI Index Report 2024. Compliance is the #1 stumbling block for organizations implementing GenAI. Survey from Coleman Park's research finds Llama3 and Mistral 3x22B, 2 new very exciting high-performant open models released, and GPT-4 passes exams from 5 different medical disciplines and outperforms humans on 2 of those. And it also outperforms intern and junior level data analysts. This is it for today. Thanks for being with us, and we will talk again next week.